cat.
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. I am over the moon tonight to be able to present to you a dear friend. She's giggling already. A dear friend, a wonderful person, the president of For the Love of Jack, Sherrie Gioia. Sherrie, thank you for joining me tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's been a long time coming.
Only 3 years, Theo. Cut me a little slack.
Well, not for nothing. It's a win. It's a win. We got you here. For anybody who ever hesitates, is this like a big deal here?
No, it's actually quite cool.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's not stressful, and it's not.
It is not at all. It's actually very cool. I have to say that.
Yeah, you get to see a different side of me because I'm running around being slightly technical. The real stuff is in Zach's hands.
Mr. Zach. Hi, Zach.
He's waving. See him waving in there? He's so crazy. He looks like the hand from a Creature Feature.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
I love my Zach.
Everybody loves Zach.
Anyway, so we are here to talk about For the Love of Jack.
And we are.
And let's start with, who is Jack?
Well, Jack is a beautiful black and white cat who was injured in Riverton, Connecticut.
Can we get the picture of the black and white cat? Just the black and white cat?
Just the black and white of Jack.
There's two of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, that's Jack. Look at that face.
That's my boy. He is our mascot. He was injured in Riverton, and actually our founder, Les Archer, who is the ACO for Barkhamsted and New Hartford.
And one of my back loves who's been on the show.
Yes, exactly. He is our founder and still a very large part of For the Love of Jack. Finally used to have a heart trap to catch Mr. Jack, who is quite elusive. And he was rushed to Veterinary Emergency Center in Canton, Connecticut, who we partner with to bring a lot of our sick and injured animals to. He had an injured leg, and Dr. Shannon did some x-rays, and he was going to have that leg amputated because the femur to the back leg did not heal well. It was actually a non-union, and it had been quite a few weeks of Les trying to trap him. He was being elusive and such. Well, she did some more x-rays, and come to find out his diaphragm had been severed in this accident, and his digestive organs had been pushed up into his chest. And it was very serious injuries, but she saw a will in him, and so did Les. And what she did first was she did the surgery, which was a major surgery, to repair all that damage, to get the organs out of his chest so his heart could beat normally and he could breathe normally again. Within hours after that surgery, he was up begging for food.
And he was feeling good,
He was.
That poor thing.
Yeah, it was a long time coming. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 10 weeks. And that he was out injured. That's why the leg healed improperly. So
sure, because a bone just tries to go do its thing, and it doesn't.
He was probably hiding and scared, and people were feeding him, leaving food out, and he would come at night, kind of thing. But after that surgery, with that will to live, Les put out a plea on Facebook, and there was an overwhelming response to
help him,
to help Jack, and Jack and Dr. Shannon named him Jack. That's how For the Love of Jack became
For the Love of Jack,
right? Yeah. And he healed, and he is living a wonderful life in his adoptive home now.
Yeah, I was, that's the one thing I don't think I ever knew is, like, where's Jack now?
He's doing great.
Where's the other picture? We have the other picture?
There he goes. Look, isn't he gorgeous? My boy. He's a good boy.
Here she goes.
I know. I go into baby talk with all of our animals, whether they're our clients or, our own. But his will to live is what started this dream. And, thanks to Les Archer, brought myself and the rest of the board of directors, which have grown in the past couple of years, to continue this mission of helping sick, injured, and hungry animals.
Can we get the logos up?
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, we have two. We like to use the one with his face as much as we can.
And there's that one.
There comes my boy again. He
I had to take
started
a
this-
picture of that because you sent it to me again, and it just
Did
I
he go
couldn't-
through?
Nah. So yeah,
Perhaps I need to, convert those into something.
yeah,
that's
into
more,
something, something
more
common.
universal.
I just had to interrupt you for that, but there he is, and there
I
are the
appreciate
logos.
your efforts, my friend. But what we do is
We'll take the
help
camera
people.
back.
We help people help their animals. We do have a process. People who might be going through financial difficulties themselves, maybe they've lost their job, or they're disabled, or you're elderly. We have cancer victims. We have fire victims that we've helped. And when their animal may get sick or injured, or if they need food, we have a pet food bank, which we partner with Harwinton Animal Control and New Hartford Bark Hampstead. We all share, and people will call when they need assistance. And what we do is the person will call, and if it's emergent, then it's overridden by the board of directors, and I just make that decision that I send the animal right to a vet. If it's a routine, an eye infection, or
Something that can
a
wait.
UTI that can wait until the morning, then it goes to vote, and we vote on dollars and that kind of thing to how much we can help this animal, because we are a small organization and we use events, and the community is very supportive for us. But the people do go through a screening process, because we'll have them, apply for care credit kind of a thing. But what we do in order to get the animal healthy, we're the opposite of a rescue. We want to keep that animal in the home with their loving family.
Right, because sometimes people are faced with an evil choice, and that is the pet needs care that they can't give it.
Right.
And sometimes selflessly, they will agree to rehome the animal to someone who
Right.
can take care of it financially. And that's a tough place to be in. Much
Right.
better to keep an animal in the home with the people who love it and are trying to do the best for it, than to displace it and glut the shelter system. And
Exactly.
it's a beautiful thing to be able to keep an animal in its home.
For everyone.
For everyone, the animal isn't displaced, and the person.
Exactly.
It's hard for the person to have to make that decision.
Well, think about if you're going through a difficult point in your life and you've lost so much already.
Yeah, why
And
should you lose
Why
that?
should you lose that precious part of your family? Because our pets are part of the family.
Yep.
We call them our fur kids. I know you and I both do. All of our friends in
Yeah,
the
they
animal
are my
world
kids.
do.
They're my reason. I mean,
They are.
honestly, my animals are the only thing that have kept me going through some really bad times.
Exactly. I mean, personally, I have all special need animals, always have. And my husband, God bless you, Alan.
Hi, Alan.
We don't take vacations together because we have
Somebody
animals.
has to stay home with you.
Because they're all special needs. They all have, meds to take and things like that. And that's another thing that we do as well, is we educate people as well on spay neuter and how to care for their special need animal. Perhaps once they've come to us, that animal needs chronic care, which isn't something that normally we would do, because we want to get your animal well,
Yep.
keep them in your home, and be able to help the next animal in line.
With limited funds. I
Right.
mean, you there's nobody that can do everything.
Exactly. And you know what? And Michelle, who is one of my vice presidents, but she is the intake coordinator, and I want to thank the entire board of directors. Anatoly Raven, Brenda Wilson.
I love Anatoly.
I know. Everybody
love
loves
him.
Dr. Raven. Valerie Wentworth, and all of them, and all of our volunteers for every event that we have. We have probably 30 on the list
and
now.
you guys put together quite a shindig whenever I've been to anything.
I'm
that
a
you've put
party
together.
girl.
That you are. But,
It's all for the animals. It's all so we can continue our mission. We do have a lot of kids groups who choose us for their community projects and things, and they'll do pet food drives. We had the Poetry in Motion group. I mean, it took 5 cars to get all of the pet beds and kitty boxes and kitty litter and things
and
like
it's
that all
so nice
together.
to have the support of the community. It really
Without
is.
a doubt. We wouldn't survive without them.
No, and you guys really do so much. There have been times, something's come across my lap, so to speak, and I've hollered, and you've been right there to help, and it's much
24/7 we're
appreciated.
there.
It's much appreciated because your heart is in it, and it
is.
shows.
Oh,
It
thank
really
you.
does.
It's made a difference in all of our lives, not in the people that we help. Because when you help someone's animal,
You're
helping
helping them. You really, it's such a
Exactly.
relief. I mean, I have been in the position. You're so stressed out about the care of your animal, and how you're going to help, and what you can do and what you can cut back on, and
Right.
to know that, wow, this is one thing I don't have to worry about, and now my
Without a
baby is
doubt.
going to be okay. That is priceless. And sometimes it's not
Thanks.
about being okay. Sometimes you have to help them transition, and that's the hard part of it.
It is, and of course we don't ever want to be known as those people. But you know what? To
Sometimes
love
it's the right thing.
unconditionally, when you love unconditionally as an animal loves you, to help them cross, and not going into my my beliefs, but I believe animals go to heaven, and to help them cross painlessly and as comfortably as possible, and people can't afford that. Yes, we do
That's-
help with that, because that's part of loving the animal from beginning to end.
Yep.
And it's important that they be not afraid and can go to heaven peacefully.
Yes.
And with dignity.
Yes.
And I think
you'd
that's
rather a
important.
couple of days too soon than a couple of days too late.
And we've made those decisions ourselves with our own animals.
Oh, yeah.
It's a delicate balance, and life is part of when to hold on and let go.
Yeah.
I just painted that at our painting party.
Yes.
And I put paw prints on it for my Betty White, my baby girl. But if we want to look at a couple of cases, I can
Yep.
certainly show you.
Zach, let's get up the first one. You pick. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
We don't have a real laid out agenda here, so
Okay,
we're just going to
we're
use
gonna-
those pictures that I checked off.
There we go.
Okay, so
This is Moki. Moki was a kitten who we had a client call us that a window, if you can picture it, a window in an older home. It was a young family, and the cat was sitting in the window with a fan. You put the big window fans in, and the cat jumped up. The fan fell. The window came down almost like a guillotine and hit Moki right on his shoulder. And they called us for help. Of course, we rushed him right to veterinary emergency center. Dr. Kraut was not open at that time. It was in the evening. Dr. Kraut, who is our partner, one of our biggest supporters, is Litchfield Hills Veterinary Hospital in Harwinton. Love you, Dr. Kraut, and staff, and Dr. Forster. But Dr. Shannon and Dr. Gerber actually took a look, and Moki, we knew, was going to have to lose that leg.
Ugh.
And the family couldn't afford the follow-up care he would need, the surgery, of course. So For Love of Jack stepped in, and we took care of Moki. And Moki is thriving with his 3 legs. Animals actually do much better than humans when
Sure.
they've lost a limb. It's an easier transition, and Moki can basically sit on the floor and jump to the top of the refrigerator
with 3 legs.
with 3 legs from a sitting position.
That's
He's doing
crazy.
great. He's one of our big success stories. He's a good boy.
What's the next one, Zach?
That's Nova. Nova,
What a
baby
happy
girl.
face.
She's a good girl. She's a client, a friend, pit bull, and her mommy, Jessica, is asthmatic, as you and I are now. The whole world knows, but we are.
Oh, the whole world knows about me anyway.
Right. And what happened was Jessica forgot to put her inhaler in the nightstand. She used it and dozed off. And Nova, at the time, I believe she was 6 to 8 months old. I can't recall, but she got a hold of it and punctured it, and the medicine, she breathed it all in. And she started having rapid breathing and rapid heart rates and
Too
everything.
much albuterol is poison.
It's very, especially for a dog or a cat. So she was rushed again to veterinary emergency center, where she was monitored. She was on, they had to lower her heart rate, and they had to call poison control. And she was monitored for a few days, actually. She
Yeah, that's
recovered fully.
serious.
Yes, she could have died if they weren't
Absolutely.
home.
Yep.
But they called us to assist, and of course, we did a straight shoot right to Canton
Oh,
Veterinary
sure.
Emergency Center. And she was a baby, puppies chew.
Yep.
And that's the thing, we like to educate families
Yeah, I
also
bet you
on
she's
safety.
never done that again.
No, and no, her mom leaves her meds locked in the medicine cabinet in the bathroom now, not even in the nightstand.
Yeah.
So she rolls over in the middle of the night. She has to
She
get
has
up.
to get up to get help. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it's all good.
She's doing great, and she has two they're all rescues. She has two pity brother and sisters, and they come to our functions when it's, friendly,
Animal
allowed.
friendly, yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it was nice. It's very good. And she's a sweetheart.
She looks it.
She's a doll.
Next
Gives good
one?
kisses. This is Mayweather. And that's Dr. Kim from Veterinary Emergency Center. He rather, his family let him out in the fenced-in backyard and went indoors and didn't hear anything unusual. They went out to go let Mayweather in and found that he was bleeding. If you see the bandages from the both front legs, the chest, the back leg was the worst. At first, the Veterinary Emergency Center wasn't aware, couldn't figure out what had attacked in a fenced-in backyard.
Yeah.
But after they had to do the first, I think, 2 or 3 weeks was 3 times a week bandage changes where he had to be sedated and everything because of the pain,
Yeah.
to pull them off. They were like a wet to dry.
Oh.
And of course, you can see they decorate all the bandages like
Oh,
you would
yeah.
a child,
Yeah.
But he went through, I think it was 10 weeks of bandage changes, but come to find out, it was a Fisher cat attack.
Oh.
And because...
They're lucky that the Fisher cat didn't finish him off.
Right. Because, he's a pocket pity. It doesn't look it there.
Yeah.
But
No, he's pretty small.
he looks to be, I think from what I remember Les saying, he is a pocket pity. But he was one of our favorites, too. No matter how much pain he was in, he was ready to give you kisses and loving you. But that's another part of education that we like to do with our clients and when we have events as well, is to educate people that on a leash,
Yeah.
and
Or don't leave your dog.
don't leave your dog
animals
outside.
in the yard, even if it's fenced.
Exactly, because once an animal gets in, they can't get out, so the wild animal
Yeah.
panics.
Yeah.
And, that's what happens here. We're not sure how that Fisher cat ended up getting out. It probably just,
Like did some kind of panic
panic
ninja move.
mode. And,
Yeah.
didn't it? Yeah, I like that ninja move over the fence. But, and he's doing fine now, too. Actually, Michelle sees him around town, and the family is, of course, still grateful. But, we like to advocate, keeping your animal on the leash, or if you're going to let them out, be outside,
Yep.
especially smaller animals. Indoor only cats, we advocate
Yep,
for that because of
absolutely.
safety and longevity. My 2 friends, I volunteer at Harwinton Animal Control with Tom Mitchell, who is also, he's our animal expert along with Les for advice on what cases we need and,
Yep.
and how much how much is too much.
Yeah.
And how is this animal going to have a
Yeah.
good life,
Right.
a lasting life, and that kind of a thing. Because I don't claim to be an expert. I rely heavily on the veterinarian's advice
Right. Sure.
and that kind of a thing. But this
That's Mayweather.
was Mayweather. Oh,
Next
boy.
one.
The thing for the checklist ones.
No,
Okay.
there was more. There was Rocky.
Rocky and Gracie, perhaps.
I didn't realize that one was checked.
It's okay.
That's all right.
Let's see them.
There we go.
These two.
Those two look like just so comfortable together.
They are. They are. Rocky, the German Shepherd, was injured in his backyard. Although it was fenced, there was a part of of their yard that had some, woods and like trees and stuff, and it was still fenced in. And he came back limping. His mom heard a cry, and long story short, he came back and he was bleeding from the dewclaw. I always say that wrong. Up above here, and she's a single mom. She has 3 children, and she had just had back surgery, so she was actually out and just getting a percentage of her pay and things. And she called us, and we rushed Rocky to our veterinarian again. And he had to, again, another dog that had to go through bandage changes. They had to stitch it, but it had to be loose stitched because of the way it was the laceration was and things. It was quite an ordeal. And Gracie, who didn't do
Loves
well,
her brother.
very much so.
You can
Gracie's was a rescue that was actually abandoned in Bristol. And Gracie did not do well being separated from Rocky, so she stopped eating, drinking, and had to go to the vet as well. So she just, some animals just grieve and just shut down, and she did. In that picture, she was still a baby, so she was totally lost without him. But another success stories, we have hundreds, but these are just some of the ones that I just thought that your audience would really enjoy knowing what we do.
Flip through some of the rest of them, Zach, and if Sherry's got something to add, she will.
Oh, he had a bladder stone the size, I'm trying to recall the name, I'm sorry.
Pebbles.
Pebbles, thank you. The bladder stone the size of an orange.
Oh
and,
my God.
The veterinarian that the family had they quoted like $8,000. Sorry. But we took him to one of our partner veterinarians, and we were able to help this family, and he's still doing great as well. Some dogs just develop it. Cats a lot too.
My
develop
Kelly used
stones.
to get bladder stones. It was awful.
Sometimes they
and
can
they were
pass
recurring.
them. Yeah.
They were recurring. So next up,
these are the trio of kittens that Michelle, my intake coordinator, took in because the mom was a feral and she was pregnant and was injured.
oh boy.
And the people who were caring for her, taking care of her, thought, she had come up and they were feeding her and things, realized she was pregnant, then she became injured. So we took this whole family and brought them all to the vet. Well, the mom, I think she hadn't had the babies yet. That's right. I don't think. I can't recall the exact. But the three kittens, Michelle used to wrap them up in, like burritos, we call them. And they all found loving homes. But
Nice.
the mom ended up needing to be kept secluded while her another leg injury, while her leg healed. And just another success story. But they're so stinking cute, aren't they?
They are. Next up, Zach.
That's Scout, I believe.
Yes.
And Scout was attacked by another dog in his own yard, which is why I have Tom and Les.
Yep.
Because they're my law keepers.
Yep.
And they calm me down when I get,
Next up.
He was all set. He was fine. He had some bite wounds, puncture wounds, but he ended up doing quite well too. And his family grateful. Oh, just another kitten that somebody found and was ill. And actually VEC hung on to that kitten, I believe, for a few days to give fluids and some, extra help and stuff. I believe that was that one.
Next up.
The little face. Willow. I believe that's Willow. And she had UTIs, recurring UTIs and things. So she had, I believe she ended up having to be on like push antibiotics, where you're on 10 days, off 20, on 10, off 20. Because sometimes she was older and they just couldn't, it didn't matter. Every time she would go off the antibiotics, she'd get a UTI. It just happens.
Yep.
One of my dogs, it happened to.
Next up.
Oh, that's Moki playing with brother Millie. As Michelle will kill me if I say Mealy. I always call him Mealy.
Next one.
And this is, I believe this is Cora. She's
adorable.
She has an ulcer on her eye. We actually partnered with New England Eye Center in Massachusetts, and Michelle and I drove actually multiple animals up to them so for them to examine their eyes to see, because she donates her time to nonprofit organizations that help
Nice.
animals in need for eye injuries, cats and dogs.
Nice.
I'm not sure if she does other smaller mammals too, but mainly cats and dogs. And it's about 2.5 hours away. And Michelle and I, we call it our road trip. And they're
And so she's
wonderful.
doing fine now?
Yep, she has drops for the rest of her life, but
Okay.
it's all good. Her mommy does that, and she's fine. But
And-
that's another case that the mom couldn't afford to take to a
Yeah.
specialist.
Yep.
You know, so
So that's probably it, right, Zach? Two more quick, because we have an event to cover and then we're going to be out of time.
that's I can't remember who that one
Midnight.
is. Thank you, Midnight. You remember their names more than I do. Midnight had a blockage, urinary blockage, and we assisted with the cost to help him get through that as well.
Yeah.
Cats are very prone to that. Oh, this just another UTI blockage.
And that can be very serious.
It can be deadly
Yeah.
if not treated. So thank goodness we have, veterinarians
So-
that are used to that.
Let's talk for a minute about your upcoming event.
This is Pause for the Cause, our second annual quarter auction. And what we do is we get donations from all over, actually. And we make baskets up. We have gift cards. We have gift certificates to restaurants, to grocery stores. And it's an auction, and we have pizza and grinders and cookies, and,
It sounds
it's
sounds
fabulous.
Like fun.
It's a fun event.
So
And
we will take the camera back.
it's a great event, actually. It really is.
And really, in addition to minding and tending and coordinating, you do volunteer at the Pounds.
I do.
You stand with Desmond's Army.
I do. I am
And,
very proud to
You're a
partner
very
with
busy
them.
lady.
I'm very proud to partner with them, and we attend a lot of events as For the Love of Jack. But I personally like to do a lot with Desmond's Army.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm proud to
Absolutely.
to have Zilla and the whole gang as our friends, my
Yep.
friend, and they stand beside us, and that makes me feel good.
Okay, we're going to say peace
Peace,
Love.
Thanks, Theo.
and dogs. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Theo.